Hello there. Today's goal is quite simple. I have to run some errands in El Centro, so I am about to cross the Insurgentes Street Bridge. But rather than taking the fast route along the main road, I think I'm going to take a detour and head down Isla Río Cuale, then climb up to Gringo Gulch and take a look over there as I haven't been up on the hill for some time. There is a wheelchair-friendly ramp across the street, but this time around I'm taking these steps as I have never been down them before. They're pretty smooth and easy to navigate. It is a beautiful day out, and I'm aware of the fact that it hasn't rained for some time, so I'm wondering what the island looks like this time of year. Is it watered or is it dry? We will find out shortly enough. And it's great to see that this side of the island looks absolutely beautiful, well watered and manicured, largely due to volunteers, I'm sure. And here is the John Huston sculpture, which is looking great with all those flowers behind it. Let's get a little closer and have a look. I'm also curious to check out the spot where a new Indian restaurant has opened, although I am aware of the fact that it only opens during the evening and it is not quite time for them to be open. But take a look at these gardens. Aren't they beautiful?
A las 8 y voy a salir como a las 9:30.
I am approaching the building where the new Indian restaurant is located. I now learn that it is called Rico Indian. It is an Indian restaurant and bar. This is where Babel Bar used to be located. And I'm going to check behind the restaurant just to see what they have done with the palapas, which is where the former restaurant used to serve their food. And it's nice to see that they've kept their area well organized. They have a lot of tables and chairs, and I can only imagine how beautiful this place must look during the evening hours, full of people and activity. There is a little sign on the door that says they open at 5, and I'm taking a quick look at their Facebook page, which confirms this information in case you're interested in checking out this fairly new restaurant. As I approach the cultural center, it's fairly quiet today, but it's nice to see that the upcoming Raicilla Festival is very well advertised, the program of activities that is going to take place during 3 days of Raicilla tasting. I am looking forward to that, and I'm sure that many people are as well. And now it's time to climb up the bridge that connects the island with Gringo Gulch. And here is something that may not be readily apparent to you. The steps on this climb have been designed to be so small that this is not at all taxing. So if you're heading up to Gringo Gulch and explore, going up this way as opposed to climbing the steps on any of the streets that head in that general direction in El Centro is much better. It's much better to do it up heading this way. Of course, the water current down the river is very low this time of year. However, the rustling of the water still provides a wonderful background to all the people that live along these buildings that are located next to the river. And of course, one of the rewards of heading this way is the view of the Alta Vista hill on the opposite side of the river. And of course, the view that you can get of some of the parts of the river as we continue to the left. If we were to continue to the right down this road, we would end up in El Caloso, but not today. Today we are headed back towards El Centro just to continue with our day. Now this arrow that directs traffic to the right is a new addition as far as I'm concerned, but it's a welcome addition, as I know that it can be sometimes difficult when cars headed down the street the other way, causing a lot of traffic jams. But going this way is another gentle way to get higher on Gringo Gulch, and we approach the famous bridge that connects the former Burton home with the former Taylor home. That would be Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. Of course, on the right-hand side is now the restaurant that pays tribute to the relationship. This is the restaurant and Hotel Casa Kimberly. I don't know if you can actually see it, but there's a sculpture right inside of the hotel restaurant that features both Burton and Taylor sitting down next to each other. So we are now walking down Saragosa Street, and I am sure we are going to bump into a few homes that were constructed by engineer Guillermo Wolf, who, as we have described in the past, was one of the characters that were instrumental in bringing the production of Night of the Iguana to Puerto Vallarta. And as you can see on this house, there are several homes that feature plaques showcasing homes that were constructed or designed by Guillermo Wolf. There are several of them, and they are considered historic residences. And of course, interspersed with streets that are used for vehicular traffic, there are all these streets that are only pedestrian used and feature steps that go up and down the hill, going to higher and higher streets. And at this point, we walk to the right to continue along Miramar Street. Just to the right at this point is hotel and restaurant Hacienda San Angel, a very famous hotel here on the hill. And just past the restaurant is La Capella, which is a small restaurant also owned by the same people that own Hacienda San Angel. And here is the entrance to the left. And I wonder if they're going to let me in if I just want to check the view and share it with you. Let's have a look. Buenas tardes. ¿Me das permiso de pasar a ver la vista nada más? Qué amable, gracias. Ask and you shall receive. See, this view is totally worthwhile because we are standing directly behind the church.
Ahora sí, 9, con el 8. Era el 9, ¿verdad? La última 9 era el 8. Ah, el 8, perdón.
Muchas gracias, con permiso. And now we are going to walk to the left on Iturbide Street, but first I'll look to the right. As you can see, the street continues up higher on the hill, and if you look to the left, you will see just how steep this particular street is, such that whereas I usually like to walk down the middle of the street because it gives a better view of the experience, this time around I am going to take the steps. Needless to say, during the rainy months, going up the streets, on any of these streets while it's raining, your car has to have really, really excellent tires to be able to maneuver. Now, my intention here is to continue forward and head down the stairs as I want to end up by Telas Parisina. But we are so close to the lighthouse down the street that we might as well just take a quick look. If you don't know the lighthouse up here on this street, it is a wonderful vantage point of the city. Not to mention all these beautiful buildings. Some of them are original, others have been fixed up. And it's always nice to see when people that fix up their buildings do so, keeping the traditional look of the original buildings in mind. Here are the steps leading up to the Matamoros Street Lighthouse. It was built a long time ago, and it originally was one of the beacons used by maritime cargo ship, from times in which Puerto Vallarta used to be a merchant terminal. This stopped some time ago, in fact, many years ago. However, the city government fixed up this lighthouse so that it would remain as a helpful vantage point from which one can take a great look at the city. And here it is. And fortunately, we are able to climb all the way up through a spiral staircase located right behind it. And here we are. Climbing up here is one of those essential things you have to do in order to consider yourself a local here in Puerto Vallarta. It is a free, easily accessible way to take in a beautiful view of the entire bay. But the afternoon is moving along. We have to go back and continue with our journey and my errands. Now back on Matamoros Street, we're going to retrace our steps all the way down to Iturbide Street and continue to the right, climbing down the steps on Iturbide so we can end up directly at Telas Parisina, my next stop. And here we go. Something beautiful about all these staircase streets that climb up and down Gringo Gulch is that every single one of them is different from the next. But they all have something in common. They are a lot more fun to climb down than to climb up. And of course, they all feature beautifully kept properties, such as this one over here. And coming up right here on the left is Planeta Vegetariano, or Vegetarian Planet, one of the oldest restaurants here in town and a favorite place for those people that enjoy vegetarian food. And of course, we are about to cross Hidalgo Street, and Telas Parisina is coming up on the right-hand side. We are just one block away from Juarez Street, which is the main northbound street here in Puerto Vallarta's El Centro. It is worth mentioning that Telas Parisina, or rather the building where Telas Parisina is located, was once a beautiful theater many, many, many years ago. And of course, it's nice to see how the businesses in this area, which includes a couple of restaurants and an art gallery, have taken it upon themselves to adorn this particular block with colorful umbrellas and also with public artwork that can be displayed in not only the walls of the buildings but also in some electrical transformers. And of course, we've reached Juarez Street. Right across the street on the left-hand side is City Hall. This is where all the northbound traffic comes from. And my next stop is, of course, right here at Telas Parisina. So I thank you for joining me on this walking tour.